My name is Lex. I'm a product manager in Appfire, at Appfire, and I've been in the ecosystem for 6 years or so, and been doing product management for 15 years. I have today 15 minutes to talk about strategic positioning in Marketplace, which is, I would say, pretty hard to do. That's why I tried to focus on some cases, statistics, some tips and tricks you can get to apply to your products potentially. That's why let's get going. I'm gonna skip intro real quick. Just mention that Appfire, the company where I work, when I worked starting from the acquisition of Sparta Software, is one of the biggest marketplace vendors, and I think it has more than 170 apps, which 12 of them I have in my portfolio, which we call Agile apps. And it happened to be 2 pokers that landed up in my team's possession. Those apps are, I think subjectively they lead the estimation area, the estimation market, where people are, together with the team, providing estimates for items, trying to talk them through, understand what are the different conditions they need to think of while providing estimates. And for quite some time, those been 2 huge rivals, to the extent that there was only 2 ones. We were, as I was actually coming from Agile Poker side, and we were always thinking of Planning Poker as the only app we need to beat, and we actually knew it so well that sometimes customer, mixing pokers, they reaching out our support, asking like, hey, how do I fix something in Planning Poker? And we were like, sure, no worries, we know this stuff. Go ahead. So last slide about the context. Agile Poker started as data center app back in the days of 2011. Planning Poker was a brand new cloud app and one of the biggest ones, and one of the fastest growing ones. Then they expanded to different hostings, and competition started, and then they were actually acquired altogether at the same moment by Appfire. So imagine 2 competitors getting into one portfolio. It brought some challenges, right? What do you do? How do you make them work together? How do you position them? But also, second point was that retrospectively, we were able to go and see and understand how actions, how changes of positioning, how changes of the strategy affected not only one side, but also the other side, which pretty much was 80% of the market. So today I would like to share a couple of insights from the times when apps were competing together and to the times when they started to not compete. Anyway, first of all, maybe super obvious, but power of the name, because naming should be clear, it should be self-explanatory so that it catches the eye of the people, and which is pretty straightforward, right? The second point is I want to touch is a brand. You have to have a brand. A couple of times we faced a problem in early Agile Poker days. Then vendors tried to blend into Atlassian UX, right? They were not putting in your face the app name or something. So for us, it was estimate. And it brought really hard challenge of people after this installation. They don't know that actually that app exists. They think of it as a feature of Jira or a feature of Confluence. And it actually bettered us when we were doing the migrations, right? People didn't know which app they actually been using. And also the referrals were pretty hard. So branding is a must. And of course, in the name, you can use something like a descriptive part of it when you provide more context, but also you should be thinking of SEO and market appeal. So keywords must go there because, the higher keywords from the title, from the name, rated better than in the description, highlights and other stuff. And this is when my first insight comes in. Imagine the situation that the main keyword for the app for the whole estimation point is Planning Poker. And Agile Poker team is struggling to beat the competitor on this market because we cannot do pretty much anything. We cannot beat it. Although installs are growing, market position should be a bit better. So our desperate marketing team goes and tries different tests. Agile Poker estimation and planning name, they tried and changed it to Agile Poker planning and estimation. And you know what? It actually gave the result of beating up and getting to the first position, which is actually, well, roughly according to our estimates, search results, search and search engines stand for 30% of the acquisition. Another 30% is marketplace. So it's a big deal. Being in the first place in the marketplace is a really big deal. Not sure if you have similar situation, maybe try it out, because we then been testing different hypotheses, and the closeness of advanced complex keywords actually did the trick and hack a bit Atlassian's algorithms. All right, then pricing strategy. Again, it can be pretty easy for new vendors, right? You just come in, you just select 5-10% of whatever Jira and Confluence costs, and that's it. You can get a little bit more advanced with going with competitive pricing, where you think of how much value your app provides versus competitor, and well, adjusting it for the tiers you want. Or alternatively, you'd like to be the top on the marketplace to generate more evals, more new sales, and you can think of the penetration pricing, lowering the price down to get more installs, more evaluation, more clients, to get growing and get better position on the marketplace. Now, I wanted to share with you some data, but of course I couldn't do the absolute numbers. So I tried to hack it a bit. So there's a relative chart here, which is, so first of all, what it does. It's a ratio of number of paid cloud clients of Agile Poker compared to Planning Poker. So here on the right side, if you see like 50%, it means that at the time Agile Poker had twice less clients than the competitor, right? So what to do? The team decided to go with stay with penetration pricing. So the price of Agile Poker was like 1.5 times lower than Planning Poker, and as you can see, they were catching up really quick. So chart growing up, meaning that the number of clients, paid clients of both apps, were getting closer to to be equal at the time. And then there was a cool event. So Atlassian decided to increase prices significantly, and Agile Poker team decided to go with it. So let's do it. Let's do the competitive pricing rather than penetration one. So prices were increased, and as you can see, this moment where the this chart, when everybody switched backwards. So suddenly Agile Poker price became like 1.5 times more than Planning Poker. And this particular event, so there were no changes in app, positioning, or anything, just the price itself made a couple of interesting points. First of all, there were a group of clients that churned. They were valuing their money, right? They didn't want to overinvest in it, and there was a solution that actually found Planning Poker. Now we know that half of those clients actually went to the competitor, which affected significantly both. And the second one, as you can see, charts were going down. And don't get me wrong, both apps were doing great. And later on this chart, the pandemic hit in, sales grew, so it was pretty cool. But Planning Poker kept growing on a much faster pace. And they actually decided to stick with this pricing for quite some time, prioritize the number of clients to the revenue. And the last point from this part is about go-to-market strategy. And interestingly enough, they were absolutely different for both of them. Still, both pretty successful. Planning Poker was this powerful name. They had really nice positions everywhere, and they focused on SEO optimization. Now, also they organically understood that the power of marketplace listening is tremendous. They bumped up and they invested into getting as many reviews as possible. So it was something even ridiculous, like closer to 100 4-star reviews for like 1,000 installation, which is a significant work. It worked really well. Plus, they used their superpower. It was one of the first cloud apps, successful one. It was by indie developer. So Atlassian was promoting it heavily. So, mentioned in different marketing materials, that still drives a lot of traffic there. Now, Agile Poker, they didn't have these advantages. So they had to focus on content marketing, newsletters. They did paid ads, plus there was a close cooperation with different solution partners. Conferences sponsored by, created by solution partners, different webinars to promote the apps to their clients. It did relatively well. This is the installation chart of both apps. So left side, as you can see, it goes pretty parallel, right? So apart from the starting positions, both apps were striving in their fields. So it worked really well until there is a breakpoint of both apps joining Appfire. So what do you do in this situation? There was no guidebook, so we decided to take a risk and do the following. First of all, we started targeting different user personas, right? While Planning Poker was more of a standard Scrum team with product owner as the target persona, mostly for teams that are doing estimations like they do with the physical cards in a one room, if that's the case. While Agile Poker was focused on larger orgs with Scrum Masters, Agile enablers, Agile coaches being as the target personas for them. Plus, it was focused on the distributed teams for bigger companies. At the time, you have multiple offices, you have people working from home or this stuff. So it was appealed to distributed teams, and this affected into the need of changing the positioning completely. So the team decided to go with different approaches, of course. Planning Poker was focused on the depth, so introducing really advanced features for the simple use case of like interactive estimation. While Agile Poker was a toolkit that of multiple estimation methods, prioritization, this type of thing that widened the appeal to broader audience. So it was pretty much about the breadth of the app, which worked out really well. Also, since Planning Poker was mostly focused on SMB, smaller teams, we invested heavily in making really fast onboarding, simple UI and UX, while in Agile Poker we did vice versa. Focused on enterprises, we did data residency, focused on the performance, focused on the security, tools for admins, charts, statistics, analytics, all of this. So then, of course, we took different ways to market it. For Planning Poker, SMB app, Appfire marketing invested into direct sales as much as we could. While on the other hand side, for Agile Poker, we took it to the partners. And as a part of the Agile solution that you can see screen on the left, when our channel team actually presents to the partners different use cases where the app can be helpful. So that's how we did it there. Now, it's resulted, so the same chart you've already seen, sorry for that, but the right side shows how dramatically those changes into positioning, into overall strategy, changed them. So as you can see, Planning Poker, it's a lower chart that goes up. That's Planning Poker acquiring more and more installs, mostly smaller instances, but not only. Agile Poker is striving well with bigger, larger enterprises, appealing to their needs. So I can say it worked out really well. Of course, I would like charts to be more steeper and going upwards, but yeah, we'll get there in a moment. So yeah, there were 6 small points. I don't know if I need to repeat them as a conclusions, but I just wanted to wrap it up into maybe grouping them in 3 categories. Capitalize on the strengths, go ahead, invest into what makes you different from what makes you stand up on the marketplace. Adopt marketing strategy. Don't take it for granted. You need to adopt or you're gonna die. Always thinking of naming changes, different positioning, different bullet points on marketplace, how you market it, because you need to run fast to stay at one place these days. And if you end up in such a situation as we did, where multiple apps were addressing the same audience at some time, think of promoting without cannibalization. Think how you can differentiate those apps and how they can actually support each other. I don't think we're at the ideal situation when I want to further go and invest into providing more clarity to the apps and maybe in future some upsells from one to another. And probably, I think Atlassian's doing great jobs with app additions. We're going to definitely utilize it, so looking forward to it. And that's all I have with some time for your questions. So thanks a lot. Good luck.